Welcome to the 2015 Bike and Pedestrian Count, brought to you by the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission in partnership with the City of Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and the University of Virginia, along with our local bike and pedestrian advocates. This video provides instruction for collecting bike and pedestrian counts at the intersection of Avon and Garret Street, shown here as location 3. This is an important location for the bike and pedestrian count effort because it is one of the gateways into the downtown mall. There also have been several projects planned for this area, and we would like to collect information on those bike and pedestrian traffic in this area. This is one of the most complicated intersections in this year's bike count. Rather than 4 legs or streets that lead into this intersection, we have 5. Avon Street runs in a north-south fashion. We have Garret Street coming from the west, which then turns into Levy Street. And then we have Old Avon that is parallel to Avon Street. To the southeast, you'll see the Belmont neighborhood. And just to the north, we have the downtown pedestrian mall. Here are a few features to get you acquainted with the site. We have crosswalks on each one of the streets on the intersection. Here's a picture looking on the southern side of Avon Street, that southern leg. You can see a nice median there, giving pedestrians an island while they're crossing the street. Crosswalks again go across Garret, Levy, Avon Street, and then Avon and Old Avon on the northern end of the intersection. You'll also notice on the west side of Avon Street on the southern leg, there's some new landscaping there that provides a little bit of buffer between the roadway traffic and pedestrians. That's the only area or sidewalk where there is this buffer, but something to be aware of. Here's another picture of the intersection from the northwest corner. Again, you can see the crosswalks, the median, and the roadways, how they move through this intersection. At the site, we recommend that volunteers stand on the northwest corner of the intersection. This provides good visibility of the intersection. There's also grassy areas there where someone could bring a lawn chair to be more comfortable while they're doing the counts. At these locations, volunteers will be collecting data on the number of pedestrians that pass through the intersection. In terms of the bike counts, volunteers will collect the number of cyclists as well as their turning movements as they go through this location. This is one of our more complicated intersections, so it will be a challenge to collect this information. Make sure to keep the counts to the intersection itself and not the intersection to the north, which is close by and may be tempting to collect that data. But we really want to focus on the intersection with Garret Street and Levy. Also, if any pedestrians or cyclists cut across the parking lots just adjacent to the intersection, we would like you to collect that information as well. This is the bike count form where volunteers will record the number and movement of cyclists through the intersection. Normally there are 9 boxes in the diagram representing the various turning movements in the intersection. In this case, because there's a 5th leg, there are 18 boxes. When cyclists pass through this location, make a tick mark in the appropriate box indicating the movement and the direction from which the cyclist approached. For example, if a cyclist were traveling westbound on Levy Avenue, going straight through onto Garret Street, you would mark 1 in box C2. If a cyclist were traveling eastbound on Garret Street and turning left onto the Old Avon Street, you would mark a tick mark in box E4. Now, because this is a 5-legged intersection, we have an additional turn lane to account for any cyclists making the sharp turn or the shallow turn. In this case, turning onto Belmont Bridge, a cyclist would be counted in E3. Volunteers are asked to conduct these counts in 15-minute increments to provide a more detailed breakdown of the counts. Every 15 minutes, start a new form and make sure to indicate the time on each sheet. This effort records the number of people on bikes, not the number of bicycles. In the picture on the left, there are 2 individuals on this bicycle. Consequently, the volunteer would include 2 marks on the form. The picture to the right shows 5 people, which includes an infant. This would count as 5 on the bike form. Also, we ask that volunteers count all cyclists, even those riding on the sidewalk. Collecting counts on pedestrians is more basic. Volunteers will not record turning movements, but the number of pedestrians that pass through the intersection. These marks will go in the box on the form apart from the intersection diagram. No matter the turning movement in the intersection, each pedestrian will count as 1 tick mark in this box. Also remember to conduct the counts in 15-minute increments. Using a new form every 15 minutes, make sure to indicate the time on each sheet. When conducting the pedestrian count, make sure to include individuals in wheelchairs and children in strollers. For people on skateboards or rollerblades, mark those individuals as other on the form. When volunteers arrive at the site, they should bring a copy of the count instructions, the location map, and most importantly, the count form with intersection diagram. If you would like to borrow a clipboard, please visit the TJPDC offices to check one out. Also make sure to bring an extra pen or pencil, along with the contact information of the project lead, Will Cockrell, in case someone on site inquires about the count or would like to learn more. Bring sunscreen, snacks, and water, especially if you are counting for more than an hour. Finally, make sure to have a watch or cell phone to keep track of the 15-minute increments. Once you've reached the site, become familiar with your surroundings. If you ever feel unsafe, stop counting and leave the location. Your safety is our priority. Also, it's best to arrive 15 minutes before your time slot, allowing yourself to assess the intersection and to review the count form. This may also allow you time to interact with a volunteer from the previous time slot and ask about any difficulties he or she experienced with the counts. For more information, visit the project website. You can find detailed count instructions and forms for the different locations, frequently asked questions, along with other important information. If you would like to sign out a clipboard or pick up copies of the forms, please visit the TJPDC offices at 401 East Water Street. The project lead is Will Cockrell. You can contact him with any additional assistance or questions about the counts. We would like to thank all of the volunteers for their efforts. This information will be critical for identifying and prioritizing bike and pedestrian projects in our area. We greatly appreciate your time and look forward to seeing your counts. Thank you.